Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Bob Pompeani. Thanks for joining us tonight. We are about ready for some football, and we have a lot to get into. That will be our #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. And here to debate the topics are your panel members. We have Mark Kaboly from The Athletic, and below him it's Colin Dunlap, 93.7 The Fan, anchor of the Fan Morning Show, and across from him it's Will Graves, who does great work with the Associated Press. So we'll start with the preseason's now over, gentlemen. So I'm going to ask you for your biggest surprise and biggest disappointment. And Mark Kaboly, we'll start with you. Your biggest surprise of this preseason.
I'm guessing surprise means positive, so I'll go down that route right there. I would have to say Alex Highsmith. I mean, we came into this offseason and preseason thinking we knew what he could do. He did play one month last year. He struggled at times. He was limited in what he was able to do. And you would always think, and always hear about taking that next step, but he legitimately took that next step, in my opinion, to be a guy where we're not really saying, hey, how are you going to replace Bud Dupree? I think coming in, we didn't think that was going to happen, or at least not this soon. So the biggest surprise to me so far is how he just turned in from a maybe player to a guy that you're looking at potentially has 10 sacks this year.
I think along those lines, a guy from a maybe player to a guy that's going to really help this team, Mark, I think James Pierre is a surprise. He's a guy that, he comes in, he's an undrafted free agent. They stick with him through all the COVID protocols last year when it may have been easier to go out and get a seasoned veteran, and James Pierre, I've been told by a couple people in the organization, had as good a camp, if not the best camp of anybody in camp, and maybe that allows them to go ahead and bump Cam Sutton inside. James Pierre has the body. He's 6'2", he's rangy, he's long. Maybe he's the kind of guy that cures a lot of what's going on, particularly on the edges for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think it's a great surprise, and he absolutely looks the part. Let's hope he can play it.
I don't know. My surprise is basically a disappointment. I mean, look, we all liked Rob Spillane last year. We thought, hey, look, he went toe-to-toe with Derrick Henry. He filled in pretty well at inside linebacker, and then basically got exposed, during minicamp and OTAs, to the point where they decided they needed to make a trade. Really surprised that he was not able to sort of build off what he did last year. And I'll start the rounds, the disappointment. Look, everybody can say, oh, it's the preseason. They averaged 3.2 yards per carry in the preseason, this with a totally revamped line. If we're going to sit here and watch one half of Ben and say Ben is back, Ben's is better than ever, then we have to look at the line and say, how in the world is this line going to be any better than the line that was dead last in the league last year in rushing yards and yards per carry? And that, I don't care. We could talk about all the other stuff. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters for this team to be successful, can they run the ball so that Ben can actually be effective late in the season? And if they can't, it doesn't matter. To me, the line showed absolutely nothing, no sign of a step forward. Can they get better? Yes, but I'm not encouraged.
Yeah, but Will, you said 31st last in the NFL. Right. How can there be any other place to go but up? They're younger, they're more athletic.
Here's the thing. I'm going to dovetail off of what Will just said there. My biggest surprise is, Will, and it's a very good point, the biggest question was, how are the tackles going to play? And that was a huge question going into the preseason. It was a huge question going into camp. And I don't know about you guys, I still don't know. I don't know what these tackles are all about. Is the kid they just drafted, Dan Moore Jr., is he the best tackle they have? I don't know enough about Chooks. I haven't seen enough of Banner. We don't know. And so that's a big situation that's happening. I know just as much about the tackles than I did 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, guys.
All right, well, that was going to be my next question about disappointments. Since we delved into there, you can pick some other ones as well, because there have been some disappointments. So, Mark, I'll go back to you with your biggest disappointment in this camp.
Well, not maybe biggest, but one I need to mention was Zach Banner only having 12 preseason snaps. You don't want that, a guy that has 50 career snaps at right tackle only taking 12 snaps. So that's a little bit curious to me. It makes me wonder about that knee a little bit. I could be 100% wrong. But the disappointing part is, I don't know if I'm going to call it the players or if I'm going to call it the coaching staff, but apparently they had a little bit too much confidence in whoever they thought was going to be the slot corner. Antoine Brooks looked good in mini camp and OTAs. Then he just got hurt and disappeared. Then Arthur Millette wasn't really any good. Shakur Brown just disappeared, gets cut. Now they literally have nobody at the position whatsoever that puts them in a position that James Pierre has to play outside, which might be a good thing, but I would think that they would have a little bit better plan of trying to replace a guy like Mike Hilton rather than a safety that didn't play last year, of journeyman like Millette and a rookie undrafted guy. It seemed like they just weren't prepared for that position and nobody stood up.
I don't know. I don't know if Colin has talked to his buddy Andrew Filipponi yet, but I mean, look, Dwayne Haskins is the guy. They gave every single shot to be the number 2 quarterback. And obviously with what we saw on Friday, he's just not there yet. He's just not. Do I think they should keep him and maybe hope that he improves as he stays in the system a little bit? But look, yes, they should. But at the same time, that's a guy that, I mean, literally they could not have done anything more to try to showcase him. And he just was unable to consistently grab that opportunity.
I think a disappointment real quick, guys, is we haven't figured out, too, who the second running back is. You guys know whether it's D'Angelo Williams, whether whomever it is, somebody will get carries of consequence who isn't the workhorse, who isn't the number 1 back. It happens every season. Somebody gets dinged up for a half, for a game, for a couple weeks, and a second running back always emerges, and generally that second running back is a defined second running back. Here we are on the cusp of what will be that first game, and we don't know that second running back.
All right, before we go here, you can fix your mic there, Colin, if you want. However, we have about a minute and a half, so I'll ask you guys this. Rank for me quarterbacks in the AFC North in order of win totals by the end of the year. So you know who they are. Mark, you first. Win totals for AFC North quarterbacks. Who will they be?
Well, I think Baker Mayfield will be number 1. He'll be around the 11 and 12 mark. I'm bringing Ben right under there, maybe 10 or 11. Then Lamar Jackson, because I think Baltimore's going to struggle more than you think, and Burrow's coming back from an injury, so he's the 7 type of guy win. So I'll put Ben in there at number 2.
I'll go Jackson, then Ben, then the man in Cleveland, and then Cincinnati Burrow. You know what? I think that the Cleveland Browns very well could be the 2017 or whatever Jacksonville Jaguars. I honestly feel that way. I feel like they could be a one-hit wonder.
Look, I still think Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are probably the most complete group out of the AFC North, so I'm going to put him 1. I'm going to put Ben 2, but basically in a tie with Baker at 2, and then obviously Joe Burrow, who we're rooting for and who I think the Bengals are definitely in a year or two going to be in the mix in this division. But I just think when you look at assuming Lamar stays healthy, I just think the talent around him and the team that they have around him, I think from a win total perspective, I really think they're the team to beat.
And that's without one of their star running backs, who we found out today is out for the season. When we come back, we'll talk about that loss for the Ravens, even though they won 20 preseason games in a row. My goodness. We'll get into that. We'll also talk about some other football-related stuff when we come back. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown, only here on KDKA-TV. The #1 Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by #1 Cochran. Go one better. And by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Have a greater hand in your health.